Hi, and welcome to the start of the Christmas week vlog. The vlog in which I tempt fate. I attempt the impossible. One of those. So these right here are the books that I am going to try to read in addition to what I have on audiobook. To start off, I actually have this book that I haven't mentioned because my student teacher came back and visited on the last day of school and he brought a gift. He brought me a book, which is totally awesome. It's Miss Ellicott's School for the Magically Minded. I heard someone, maybe Gavin on How to Train Your Gavin, talk about this and how awesome it was. So I'm really excited about it. I love the cover. I think it's adorable. Plus, I love that style of edges. So definitely gonna try to get to this one this week. So I am going to finish Bone Shard Daughter. Definitely gonna finish that tomorrow. I'm also gonna finish Fable and pick up Namesake. I don't know. I'm really loving Fable, so I think I actually will pick up Namesake before How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. So these are definitely going to be tomorrow books. And then I'm going to try to go in order of Six Crimson Cranes, Realm Breaker, then this here, this is the one that's on the Goodreads list, Gods and Monsters, but I need to read the first two books in the series. Those are on audiobook. So as soon as I finish Fable, I'm gonna start listening to the first one in this series. So if I don't finish the second one in that series, obviously that will wait. Same goes with We Free the Stars. The first one, We Hunt the Flame, I have on audiobook. So if I don't get to that, then this will wait until later. That's my goal for this week. This week, I'm just gonna be reading and reading and reading. Get a little bit of running in there, maybe go out to the beach a few times, but I just plan to read this week. I can't think of anything better and I'm super excited with it, especially because I get to cap off the week because next Saturday? Yeah, next Saturday. I can't remember dates, but next Saturday is Christmas and I'm going to be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So probably won't get a lot of reading done that day, but I might put a few clips of our escapades, my cousin and I, while we're at Hogwarts on Christmas. Okay, so filming from a new angle. I know it looks kind of stark, but just trying to mix things up. There's not great angles and I didn't feel like holding the tripod this time. So I haven't actually read anything physically today. I have done a lot of audiobook reading and I'm doing more of that because I am working on a cross stitch project that I've been working on for almost 2 years now. I really would like to get close to finishing it next year, you know, so I can finally give it to the person. And the great thing is rediscovering audiobooks goes great with working on cross stitch because I can read. I mean, I don't know why I put air quotes around that. It's reading. I can read, I can consume this story and get the cross stitching done. So I do want to give an update because I have finished Fable. When I left off yesterday, I was about an hour and a half away from finishing it. Now, Fable is about a girl, the titular character, Fable. Her father is this leading trader in the area. He's kind of cutthroat and ruthless, but he's really good at what he does. And he absolutely loves Fable's mother. But then there's a shipwreck when Fable is 12 or 13 and the whole ship goes down and her mother dies. Her father decides to, after scarring her arm, decides to leave her on this island known for thieving. And she is left completely on her own. She has to completely fend for herself. She becomes a really good dredger. She becomes really skilled at diving. It's something that her mother did and started to teach her, but she has to now do it on her own so she can survive. And this one particular trader, always without fail, is there for her to trade these certain kinds of stone to. And then she, in the beginning, gets in trouble with another dredger person. I forget what his role is, and he attacks her, wants to get her stuff, and so she's fleeing for her life and ends up on this guy's ship. This guy's name is West, And it turns out that he has a connection with her father. And the book goes along, it starts weaving together these different threads. You've got Saint, her father, a rather ironic name, who controls all of these things. You have West, who is the helmsman of this ship. There's only 5 people that work on the ship, 4 others besides West. There's Willa, Oster, Pog, and Hamish. There's some things that seem not like a normal trading ship there. You've got Fable trying to get back to her father and prove that she can survive. She knows how to survive. She knows how to fend for herself. Then there's that connection with her father that she discovers partway through that West and the Marigold, his ship, have. And I found it really intriguing. Obviously, I mean, come on, the love interest is going to be between West and Fable. Duh. It's a YA fantasy type book. That's going to be the love interest. I knew that going into it. I really do like how Adrienne Young developed it, and I realized as I was listening to it and looking it up on Goodreads that I have read another book by Adrienne Young, the first in another duology, and absolutely loved it, the name of which, as I sit here, is escaping me. And so I shouldn't have been surprised that I loved Fable so much and how it was written. I knew going into it, it's probably going to leave on a cliffhanger. Things aren't going to be resolved because it's a duology. And I think that Adrienne Young did a fairly good job in making sure that everything looked like all of the threads were coming together, but then they ultimately weren't. Thankfully, I have the other half of the duology in hard copy, so I will be reading that. Not sure when, but I also got a whole lot further in the Bone Shard Daughter. Wow, my mind is blown. I read about 200 pages yesterday. I'm less than 100 pages away from finishing it. What Andrea Stewart has created with this world, with the things going on, I keep trying to figure it out, and each time I start thinking that I've put a piece together and I think I've figured it out. Nope, I haven't actually figured it out. And what she's actually done is even better than that. I've just gotten into a big ol' reveal that involves Bayan and Lynn, and wow, so okay. Also, still absolutely love Mephi, and I can't wait to see how Jovis's POV is going to come into and connect with Lynn's. It has already connected with the other 2 POVs that have been mentioned slightly. Well, at least with Breshmina's. At least I think I'm remembering that correctly. But anyway, with that, at least on that island, it's connected with that. Wow, I really can't give a lot of details about where I am in the book because it's the climax and it's a turning point, and this is the first book in the series. Hopefully I'll be able to get Bone Shard Emperor, but the problem with getting Bone Shard Emperor and reading that is the 3rd book's not out yet. Like, Bone Shard Emperor just came out, so I'm gonna have to wait for the final book in the trilogy. But I'm super excited about that. Gonna finish that today. Gonna read, hopefully, How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. On the audiobook front, since I had only an hour and a half left of Fable, I have started Serpent and Dove. And so the book on the Goodreads list, I'm still trying to read through those, is Gods and Monsters, and that's the 3rd in this series. And when I was looking up some details to make sure that I was listening to the first book first, because I didn't, want to listen to them out of order, that might be a problem. It mentioned that it was a steamy romance. I'm just not much of a romance fan. It's never really appealed to me. I like girls and characters who can stand up on their own, but at the same time, I don't mind it if it's done well, but if there's too much of it, I might be like, eh. If it's insta-lovey, I definitely don't love that. That helped lower my expectations as I have started listening to this, but I am intrigued. Obviously, there's way more of the romance in Serpent and Dove, serpents and doves. I can't remember whether it's plural or not, but it's not obscuring the plot. I think it's moving along fairly well. Your main character here is, I can't remember her name. What is her name? What is her name? Okay, I've been listening to this book all day and I cannot remember her name. I know it's Reed. I know the guy's name is Reed Diggory, and I remember Diggory because, you know, Cedric. So there's Reed, there's Coco, and there's Ansel. I can remember all these characters' names except for the main character. But anyway, she's a witch, but she's hiding and she gets involved in something, and so the only way out of the situation is for her to marry Reed, who is a chasseur, that's another name for witch hunter, but he doesn't know she's a witch. And so now she's living inside this tower where all these people live who are dedicated to getting rid of witches, and they view them as, they've made them into it and demons and taken away their humanity so they can do terrible things to them, so burn them at the stake. I think the way that Shelby Mchurry is pulling these threads together, I really like it. There are bits of it that I could do without. There's some things that seem really obvious. There's some things that's like, oh, she's this great thief or whatever because she's been trying to survive on her own, but then she asks this really obvious question of the Archbishop or of Jean-Luc. See, I can remember everybody's name but hers. Anyway, it's like, why is she doing that? That doesn't seem in character, but I think it's decent. I will probably maybe finish that tomorrow. It's a lot longer. It's a much, much thicker book. So it might be lots of audiobooks in this particular vlog week. I think it works really well for my project, and I've been updating for longer than I thought. Okay, filming this on my phone real quick. We are gonna go for a ride. Gonna go over to Barnes & Noble's, so maybe I'll get some B-roll footage there. Okay, so I'm gonna give this voiceover a little bit of a shot. So as we go in, I first see this stand right here at the front with the 1619 project, and I thought that was a really cool idea. I didn't realize that it was a book, and so obviously, since I appreciated the podcast project so much, I wanted to go ahead and get the book, and so I walk in and I get a book right away. As I am walking around, my initial plan was to head over towards either the classics and or the Harry Potter section, glancing at the books as I went, like the buy one get one half price, but I wanted to make sure that it was a book that I had heard a lot of good stuff about. As I'm looking through these classics, I'm trying to remember which classics I actually own so that I don't duplicate, because of course I want all of them. Also keeping in mind that we were going back on the bike, so I would have to be able to carry it back on the bike. So that did help me limit what I was getting while there. And so the next place that I head is over to the Harry Potter section. So now I'm in the Harry Potter section, looking around at all these things, keeping in mind that I'm going to the Wizarding World soon, so not buying everything that I see, obviously. And then I look over at the Funko Pops to see if they had any Harry Potter Funko Pops, but at this particular section, unfortunately, they did not, even though I looked through pretty much all of them. So I finished up my time at Barnes & Noble in the YA section. I saw so many different books that I wanted to get, but refrained because, again, I was keeping in mind that I had to take them back on the bike, and also they needed to be books that I had read. There are so many that I had heard about, which is not usual for me, but it's a new thing that I've enjoyed. So I'm trying a new location in the comic, but as you can see from the B-roll, I took a trip over to Barnes & Noble on the island. Mom and I rode together, and I picked up some books. The first thing I saw right when I walked in, that is the 1619 Project. Now, there are a lot of people that are talking about this, and they use it as I guess a slur for critical race theory and like, oh no, you're making white people feel bad. Well, you know, let's tell the real story. I didn't know it was a book. So this is the project that was created by Nicole Hannah-Jones and the New York Times Magazine. And so they put it into book form. I have listened to the podcast and I've done a lot of work on this, and I'm really excited to dig into this book. So this haul is actually different for me in the sense that I got books that I haven't read before. The next one I got is They Went Left by Monica Hess, or Hesse, I don't know how that's pronounced. I haven't read this, but I have read one of her other novels, The Girl in the Blue Coat. It has been a long time since I've read a book that amazing, and so when I found out about this one, I knew I had to purchase it right away. Of course, they had a paperback version, but I love hardbacks and their substantialness, and also the fact that when you lay it flat, the cover doesn't flop up. So then right before we left, I happened to see this pocket edition of the classics. I had no idea that Alexandre Dumas had written a history of the Nutcracker. He didn't originate it, but he's the one that popularized it. And I love Dumas. One of my favorite classics, The Count of Monte Cristo, is one of Alexandre Dumas. I think this is so cute, and it's so Christmassy, and of course I have to have it. It's not gonna really fit size-wise with my other Barnes & Noble classics, but this is softbound leather. I'm absolutely in love with it. So reading-wise, I am in the middle of listening to Blood and Honey by Shelby Mchurry. I finished Serpent and Dove. Did double check, it is singular, not plural. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it. It's okay. It's good, it's solid, it doesn't do anything groundbreaking. There are so many different tropes in there. I talked about this a little bit in my Goodreads review, which I will link my Goodreads review if I remember, but I'll link that in the description. There are so many tropes for YA romance fantasy, and that, let's face it, this is what it is. It's fantasy romance, or romance fantasy. I don't know which way you put that for the genre. It makes it an average read for me, not one that's like, oh, I don't want to read the rest of this, but it was okay. So I just realized that since I didn't update yesterday, I haven't mentioned the other book that I picked up. See, what day is it? I've lost track of days while I'm here. Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I didn't update on Tuesday, and I picked up this book on Monday night, read a few pages of it. Then yesterday, that book is Namesake, the second in the Fable duology. I picked it up about 10-15 pages in and didn't put it down until I finished it. I could not put it down. I kept wanting to read. I was and still am in love with these characters. I think Adrienne Young did a phenomenal job with these characters. I've already checked out the second book in that other series that I mentioned on audiobook, so you'll probably hear about that in an upcoming vlog. This book, she really expands on the characters' nuances and flaws. She makes Wes so much more than your standard swashbuckling, yeah, he's a pirate. He's not a pirate, but anyway, like your standard heroic, slightly flawed lead in a fantasy story. She makes him so nuanced, and so he's not always upright and doing the right thing, or he was a little villainous and he feels conflicted about it. She makes him actually flawed and morally gray and conflicted about it. Like he wouldn't go back and change anything about that, but he wants to do better now. And I loved how Adrienne did that. I love the exploration of all the characters. There were a few things that fell a little bit flat, but I read it so fast that I don't actually remember a lot of the other nuances. I loved it so much. This is definitely going to be a duology that I reread. And then this morning, this is that book that my student teacher got for me. Miss Ellicott's School for the Magically Minded. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna make this quick. So far, since this is middle grade, I'm keeping that in mind, and I really do love the way that she's introducing these different characters. We just met one Franklin. I knew it started with an F, I was gonna call him Frederick, but it's Franklin, and he makes me laugh. He's hilarious. I love all of these characters so far. I don't think this will be groundbreaking, but it is nice to have a light, carefree, middle grade story after the heavy, plotting, brooding romance of the Serpent and Dove trilogy. Welcome back to my normal filming location. Hey, my family hasn't celebrated Christmas yet, so the tree and all the decorations are gonna stay up for a little while. I didn't end up filming anything while my cousin and I were at Universal. We had an amazing time, got all sorts of Hogwarts stuff. To wrap up this vlog, which was a little bit more than a week because of vacation and traveling and etc., I am actually gonna do a little bit of a haul, and then I'll summarize the books that I finished. So while I was on vacation, I had several things come in. And one of the things that I did is I purchased, I purchased yet another copy of all of the hardback American Harry Potter versions because I got the Nerdy ink covers, which are gorgeous. And so I wanted books to display these covers on. I got them all from Thrift Books, so it was only $14 for the 7 because I had some free credits. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open all of them and I'm gonna put the Nerdy ink covers on, and I even brought scissors. I don't normally when I open these packages, so it's a real big struggle for me to actually get it open. Oh, one of them came without a cover, so I don't have to get rid of a cover. That works for me. This package had Half-Blood Prince and Order of the Phoenix. I'm going to get those covers. So what I love about the Nerdy ink covers is that all the characters end up getting their own, I guess you could say, starring role, basically. It's just gorgeous. And all the stuff that's in here, I'll talk about each cover after I get it onto the book. Okay, so we start off with Order of the Phoenix, which might be one of my favorites because of the audiobook. But on the front, you have Luna, you have Prefect Badge, you have a DA Galleon, you have a Proclamation, you have a Prophecy Ball, and then on the back, wow, I like this version of Sirius Black. We've got some kitten plates. So next we have Half-Blood Prince. Also, you've got all kinds of awesome symbols on the underside of the dust jackets, which is awesome. Half-Blood Prince. You've got Draco, you've got the locket, you've got Felix Felicis, you've got the ring, and then on the back you have Severus Snape. I think that's his Half-Blood Prince. A Veritaserum, I can't read it that closely. You also got a nose-biting cup. Now I'm gonna open the next Thrift Books package and see which ones we're gonna get next. Okay, so Chamber of Secrets, Deathly Hallows, and Prisoner of Azkaban. For Chamber of Secrets, you've got Ginny, you've got the diary, you've got a mandrake, you've got the basilisk, you've got a snake, you've got a howler. Oh, I forgot there's stuff on the spines as well. So on the spines of the other one, you have a Thestral and advanced potion making. So on the spine, you have the Sorting Hat, and then you also have Gilderoy Lockhart books and Hagrid. Next, we're gonna look at Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay, for Prisoner of Azkaban, you have Hermione, obviously, with the Time Turner. You have Crookshanks, you have Sirius in dog form. You've got the Marauders map. On the spine, you have the Time Turner again. And on the back, you have Scabbers, and you have Dumbledore. Next, we have Deathly Hallows. Okay, so this might be one of my favorites. On the front, you have Neville. You have Hufflepuff's cup. You have the sword. You have Tales of Beedle the Bard. You have the Elder Wand. You have a Ministry of Magic file. On the spine you have the doe. And on the back, Molly Weasley with one of her sweaters for Harry. And you've got the Deathly Hallows down here. Okay, now for the last two. Well, oops. Somehow, I ended up with another copy of Order of the Phoenix and not the first one, Sorcerer's Stone. So I'll just show you that cover and then get Sorcerer's Stone. So here is the cover of Sorcerer's Stone. You have Harry, Hedwig on the cover, you have the golden snitch, you have the Sorcerer's Stone, obviously, you have his Hogwarts letter, and you have a chocolate frog. Okay, additionally, I did get one of Cornelia Funke's books so that my total would add up to above $10 so I could get free shipping. So the last cover I had to get to display on a book is Goblet of Fire. So you have Ron. I'm not really sure what he's holding, probably something related to the World Cup. You've got the Triwizard Tournament Cup. I forget what they call it. You've got the Goblet of Fire. You've got the Dragon Egg. Got Dobby and all the hats and socks. And then you have Mad-Eye Moody or Barty Crouch. Probably Barty Crouch because there's his flask down at the bottom. That is part one of the haul. I have forgotten what I ordered with some of the other stuff. At first I thought this was another Amazon box, but then I realized, I looked at the label, I'm like, oh no, it's something I bought off of Etsy. So I'm really excited about this because, okay, I think these are more Harry Potter pins. And there's a package within the box. Okay. A used package and some packaging. So, whatever this is, it's well packed, not going to break. So now I can't remember what this is because pins would not require this level of packaging. Oh, now I remember. Okay. It's not the pins. It is, oh, I'm so excited. Okay, it's another, so I collect the Starbucks cup ornaments, and this is one of those ornaments. So, well packaged. I appreciate that sincerely. It is somehow glued onto this stand. I want to put it on my tree. So, oh, it's a stopper. Wow, extremely well packaged. I'll give them that. Okay, so this is the 2008 Starbucks Red Cup ornament. So I'll be putting that on my tree. Now I think I remember what this one is. Again, I think it's another eBay purchase related to that ornament. Haha, yes it is, because it too is extremely well packaged. And it makes me happy because they stopped making these, which did not make me happy. It's the 2008 Red Cup. So excited about this. This feels like a book. So let's see what it is. It is, oh, yay! I forgot that this was gonna come. Okay, so this is a Clockwork A Clockwork Reader's reading journal. I'm so excited about this. I pre-ordered it as soon as I watched her announcement video. Feels like a shirt. I'm trying to remember. I think I got a shirt. Can't remember. Oh, no. These are pants. I'm so excited. I finally have some pajama pants. So this is an Etsy purchase. I wanted some pajama pants because I realized I didn't have any. Now I do, you know, for that pajama day at school. Pajama pants with a bunch of books on them. So happy. Okay. I spoke too soon. I doubted my ordering ability. I have the first book. It just was in a separate package and I didn't realize it. So I'll cover it later, not in the video, because I did show you the cover. Okay, and this one, I cannot remember what is in here. It's a big package. And it looks like another box inside of the box. Oh, no. I know what this is. I forgot I ordered this. You won't be able to see it in full form, but maybe there is some sort of picture on here. I got it because this whole stack back here of my unread books really bothering me. Now I have carpet everywhere, so it won't roll, but I'm still really excited about it. I'm gonna see if there's a picture before I tell you. So it doesn't look, yeah, it doesn't look like there's a picture, but this is a book cart, like a library type book cart, and I am super excited about it. So now that my living space is a mess, I'm gonna briefly wrap up the books that I finished. So I left off and I was in the middle of Blood and Honey. Focus please. Okay. Blood and Honey by Shelby Mchurry. And I was loving it, even though with all the tropes. So the next thing that I finished was actually something that I started after the last update. And that was We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I'm in love with this series. I absolutely adore it. It took me a little bit longer to finish it because, you know, travel, and I wasn't listening to an audiobook while I was in the Wizarding World. I love Hafsa Faisal's like creation of this mystical, mythical, fantastical Arabia, and bringing in all of the different aspects of Arabia that a lot of people forget about and gloss over because they think Arabia, oh, Islam. Before Islam came in, there's such a long history and so much. This area was the heart of civilization. You go way back, the earliest writing we have comes from Sumeria, super close to Arabia. And there's so much history. Don't just limit it to what started in the 600s. And the way that Faisal brings all this together and creates this world, I adore. So I listened to this one on audiobook. The narrators, oh, they are fantastic. Oh, I love the male narrator's voice, and it really fits for Nazir. So this was the Nazir focused chapters. And then at the end, in the epilogue, the Altair portion of the epilogue. Fantastic. I love how she sets up the relationships between characters. I do have a problem with a little bit of an issue with what she did with Dean. I won't say anymore because that's a little bit spoilery. That's the only real quibble that I have with this, but the way she sets up the relationships initially has you wanting more. And then as she grows and develops these relationships, it deepens in a natural way and in a way that makes you want to figure out more. Now, some of the reveals that she had, I predicted, but I love that I was able to predict them. I absolutely loved it. And I'm so happy that I have the audiobook for We Free the Stars, the conclusion for the duology. And then the other book is Miss Ellicott's School for the Magically Minded. Now this one did suffer a little bit from the fact that I wasn't able to read big chunks of it at a time, and so because I was going back and forth with very different things, you know, We Hunt the Flame is very different than this. I think this was really nice to come to this much lighter read because both Blood and Honey and We Hunt the Flame, very heavy, very deep, but this one, I love how Blackwood was sort of subverting all these different tropes throughout and like making you question these different tropes through Chantel. Now, I will say that at the end, it felt a bit heavy-handed with how she dealt with things, but I did really enjoy it. I thought this was a good, slightly above average read. I'm glad I own it. This is probably going to my classroom library and not staying on my shelves back there. And to finish things off, I did, on our trip down from the beach, we listened to the first Harry Potter book, Sorcerer's Stone. Almost finished it, so we had to finish it today. We had about 10 minutes left. And then on the way back from Universal to South Carolina, we finished Chamber of Secrets and got about 40%, 35-40% into Prisoner of Azkaban. So that wraps up this week-ish reading vlog, this holiday trip-themed reading vlog. Thanks so much for watching. My next video will be my best books of 2021. I'm super excited about that. Then I'm gonna get into my goals for next year. So I probably won't have a reading vlog for another couple weeks. Really excited about things coming up, and I would love to chat with you about it in the comments. See you in the next one.